Hey guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to one of my favourite videos to film every month, which is going to be my July monthly reading wrap up. So I didn't film one of these for June. I had an awful reading month in June, I can't lie. I read like 3 or 4 books. So I will quickly go through those ones first and then go through what I read in July. I read a lot of books in July, plus some ones on my Kindle on my phone. So I've got a lot to talk about with you guys today and I'm very excited because this is probably one of my best reading months ever. So very excited about that. So firstly, I will just go through a couple of statistics for my month. So in July I read 10 books and 3,575 pages. I mostly read emotional, funny, light-hearted and tense books. 40% were fast-paced, 60% were medium, 10% were less than 300, 80% were 300 to 500, and 10% were more than 500. It was all fiction, mainly romance, contemporary, and then a little bit of LGBTQ and young adult. I read 40% digitally, 50% like physical print books, and 10% audio, and averagely I rated the books 3.6 stars, which is a pretty good reading month for me. And then you can kind of see there at the bottom how my kind of readings spanned out throughout the month. But yeah, these are basically all my statistics on Storygraph. That's where I get my statistics from, basically. But I'm just going to go through the books that I read recently. So firstly, starting off with the few that I read last month. So basically at the start of June I was carrying on reading The Soulmate Equation. I can't remember if I talked about this in my last reading wrap up or not. I kind of like half did it half through May, I'm pretty sure. I can't even remember. But I read this one and I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I can't remember these books, so I'm not going to be talking about them for long. And then I read They Both Die at the End and gave this one 4.75 stars. Really enjoyed this. So now for books in July. We obviously have a lot. I'm going to go through them in chronological order. The first book we have was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This one I did a full reading vlog of, so if you guys want to see that I will link it up in the card so you guys can check that out. This is basically a it's not really enemies to lovers, they don't really hate each other, but it's kind of like a small town. Like she's quite kind of almost like grumpy rather than grumpy sunshine, and overall I did like it. Nora and Charlie, I thought they were quite cute together. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I was definitely a bit disappointed considering I loved Beach Read and I did quite like People We Meet on Vacation, but everyone and their mother has been talking about this book as it came out recently, so I won't dwell on it for too long. But overall I did enjoy that one. Then the next book I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I cannot believe I haven't read this yet and I was obsessed with it. I gave it 4.75 stars. I finished this one on the 5th of July and was absolutely obsessed with it. Everything about this I loved. If you don't know, this has been basically viral on BookTok for over a year now. It's basically Evelyn Hugo kind of telling her story of her life. She's had 7 husbands. She's like an actress in the 60s and she's telling her story to this journalist. I really enjoyed this. The only issue I had with it was why it wasn't 5 stars is there was kind of a plot twist that I very easily predicted kind of as soon as it was first slightly mentioned. Not the initial kind of what might be the plot twist, but as soon as what ended up being it was mentioned somewhere else in the story, I immediately knew that the 2 things were linked together, basically. I'm not trying to give spoilers. And also I felt like there was at one point where the characters had Evelyn Hugo had like a bit of an issue and like something that would kind of stunt her and like really stop her from kind of going where she wanted to go, and I felt like that was just resolved immediately, and she didn't really have to kind of do very much to overcome that. Anyway, that was really only minor things, that's why it was 4.75. I really did enjoy it and I actually love this one. This was an amazing book. I definitely would recommend that one very highly. Then I read All Your Perfects. I was doing a Colleen Hoover reading vlog last month and then I've got to like stop my timer. I was doing like a 24-hour thing, so instead of doing another Colleen Hoover reading kind of vlog but like less 24-hour or so just with some of her other books, but that will be coming later this month. This is the one that I read this month and it was All Your Perfects. I finished this one on the 6th of July and I gave this one 4.25 stars. I love this book. I really liked it. It felt like a very real relationship and I just thought it was just a really nice story. I mean, like obviously it's a little bit of a difficult subject and like it's kind of a then and now from when the couple meet, and kind of I think it's about 7 years later, and their marriage is kind of like on the rocks a little bit, and I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed them as a couple, and I thought it was really interesting because obviously it's not your classic happily ever after romance, obviously, and I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read this all in one sitting. It's pretty short. It was only like 300 pages, so I did get through it quickly, and I know it's kind of slightly linked into do kind of Finding Cinderella, Finding Perfect, and the Losing Hope series, so I will be trying to kind of read the novellas to tie them all together, but I did just read this one first. This one's been very viral at the moment, and yeah, really enjoyed that one as well. That one's a very high recommendation and one of my favourite Colleen Hoover books so far. So then I read one on my phone. I read Too Late by Colleen Hoover. I actually really enjoyed this one. I don't see many people talking about it. I gave this one 3.25 stars and finished it on the 8th of July. This was quite Wattpad-y. I would definitely search out trigger warnings for this one. It's a very mature and, to be honest, very Wattpad-y, but I love a Wattpad book, so that doesn't really kind of make it a bad book for me. It was about Sloane and Asa and Carter, I believe was the other guy, and it was kind of love triangle-esque, kind of toxic relationship-esque, very dramatic, reasonably unrealistic, I think, in terms of, not in terms of the relationship, but in terms of kind of like the outward situations, I guess. Very dramatic, but overall I enjoyed it. It was a fun and entertaining read, and I definitely would kind of recommend it. Obviously do kind of do a little bit of research before, but I definitely don't think it was a bad book at all. I think it deserves a bit more hype. I mean, I preferred it to maybe Someday, Ugly Love, like what other books of hers that I really like, Hopeless, and like Maybe Not and stuff like that. I didn't mind Maybe Not. Again, these are kind of coming up in this series for me to talk about, but I did kind of prefer it to some of her other books, I can't lie. Next up, we read The Fine Print, which was by Lauren Asher. I gave this one 4.75 stars, and I am already starting the next book. I am obsessed with it. So I finished this one on the 18th of July and was obsessed. I can't really remember why I didn't give this a full 5 stars. I know there was something that put me off because I really liked it. I just really can't think of what it was. I will probably reread this at some point, but yeah, I've got no idea why I didn't give this 5 stars actually. I really enjoyed it. I think I read this as part of a reading vlog. I can't remember actually. Yeah, I know I did. I read this as part of my 24-hour readathon, and I will link that in the cards. So if you want my opinions on the book, definitely go check there, because I will actually have remembered them, and that was like in the moment, so I will explain there why I didn't give it 5 stars. But yeah, overall I really like this. This will be going on the top shelf with my favourite books. Most of my books go just kind of under my bed when I finish with them, because my TBR is just my bookshelves, and this one will be going on the top shelf because it was a favourite. And I'm already starting the second one, Terms and Conditions here, and I am loving it so far, and I can't wait for the rest of the series to come out. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. Highly recommend that. Then next up, I read Never Never. It's kind of a series of books on my Kindle. It was just split into part 1, part 2, part 3, but on here it's staying the complete series and 3 of the books. So we'll see how close I am to our reading goal at the end of the year to see whether I'll count this as 3 books or 1, but overall I've counted it as 1. I finished this also on the 18th of July as part of that reading vlog. I gave this 3.75 stars. Nobody talks about this book. I kind of like it. I thought it was kind of cute. It was kind of fun. Like, there was a bit of a mystery there. It is a bit longer. It's like 500, nearly 600 pages, but I really enjoyed it. I read this on my Kindle. It is about, I forgot to tell you what The Fine Print was about. I know most people have already read it, but this is basically like billionaire owning the kind of equivalent to Disney World, and this girl kind of submits a proposal when she's drunk, and then she gets hired onto the team and they have to work together. His grandfather, when he died, left all 3 of the brothers different tasks, that they have to do to get their inheritance, so that's kind of what the series is following. Anyway, Never Never is basically about Charlie and, what was his name? Oh, actually it began with an S and it was a bit of a weird name. What was he called? Silas. Oh no, it's Charlize, but she goes by Charlie, and Silas. They basically both wake up, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, but they wake up having no memory, and they're trying to kind of figure out what's going on, and this kind of big mystery or whatever. They have no idea kind of anything really. They remember like how to walk, how to talk, and they remember like events, but they don't remember anything about their lives specifically to them. But yeah, this is basically a whole full mystery, kind of trying to figure that out, and they're kind of obviously sparking up this romance again, even though they don't know each other. So yeah, at parts this was a little bit cringy. I did find it kind of overall slightly cringy, but I did like it, so I gave it 3.75, and I did enjoy it, and I think that one is definitely underrated Colleen Hoover book, I can't lie. Then we have Maybe Someday, which I believe I also read for that 24-hour readathon. I finished this on the 19th of July, and I did like it. I didn't like Sydney and I didn't really like Bridge, and I didn't like the trope in here, and I gave this 2 stars. 2 stars because it was well written, minus 3 stars because I hated the characters and I didn't want them to end up together. But I am going to be doing a tier ranking Colleen Hoover video, so I know I need to read Maybe Now, which is their follow-up book, which I'm just dreading. I can't be arsed. Like, I don't like them at all. This is going straight under the bed. This is not going on the top shelf. I really don't really have much to say about this. I do not recommend it. I did not find the characters likeable. I feel like that trope can be done well if it's kind of, there's a way to go about it. I think is acceptable, I guess, where it doesn't last long, basically. This is kind of, I'm trying not to give spoilers, but if you've read it you'll know, like if that trope kind of is only there in the beginning and then stops, then I find it okay, but like when it lasts so long, it's just like not a fan. Then I did listen to the audiobook of Maybe Not, which is 2 side characters in Maybe Sunday, and I loved it so much more. I did only give it 3 stars because it was just kind of like a little novella. It was like a fine, like little cute book, nothing too crazy, quite steamy, I can't lie, very steamy, which is awkward when you're listening to it on audiobook. I find that so awkward when it's like a little bit smutty and you're just like listening to it. I'm like doing my makeup and it's like, oh okay cool, I'll just like skip through slightly. But overall this was a decent book. I finished this one on the 26th of July and it was a very quick read. Pretty good, like no complaints there, and it was just fine really. Then I read One Last Stop by Katie McQuiston. This is the author of Red, White and Royal Blue, and that is one of my favourite books. That is a 5-star read for me. This one I was kind of disappointed by. I gave this one 3 stars and finished it on the 28th of July. It's a very long book and I do think it could have been cut down significantly. There was a lot of waffle, there was a lot of kind of just sex scenes that I felt were there for the sake of it. I love a sex scene if it's kind of important to the plot and kind of feels relevant. This one's kind of like, the first one felt very relevant and then the other ones following just felt a bit like okay, we get it, it's like, and they're written the same way as well, they're not kind of different too much. But this is basically kind of a fantasy type thing, maybe not fantasy, maybe like sci-fi-esque, as well as a romance. It's about August and Jane is basically stuck on this train and they're trying to figure out how to get her off, how she's stuck on there, like what's going on. So it was overall very good. My favourite part about this was the side characters. There's, I can't remember their names, Myla, Wes, and there's another one, and Nico, and kind of the other side characters. This was very much found family and I really loved those relationships. That's what kind of bumped this up a little bit more for me, rather than just having it kind of sit on a 2-star, is those kind of relationships. But I do think a lot of the middle part of this book could have been cut out. It felt very unnecessarily long, and that is probably my main complaint with that one. Then the last book that I read this month was Slammed by Colleen Hoover. This is starting me off on my new Colleen Hoover video, which will be coming soon. I'm just going to be kind of reading the ones that I haven't read yet, and I was actually really pleasantly surprised by this. I gave this one 3.75 stars, so nearly a 4-star. I actually quite liked Laken and Will in this. It's kind of like, I won't say the trope because it kind of doesn't get revealed until partway through, but it's a trope that I think can be done okay. Sometimes it's a bit iffy, but in here I think it's okay. And I really like them. Laken's basically moved to Michigan after her father dies, with her brother and her mum, and Will lives across from her, who like looks after his younger brother, and they basically have this like intense passion and like attraction to each other. And it's actually quite good. I really liked this. There's a lot of like slam poetry in this because like he loves slam poetry, so they do a lot of slamming, so that's why it's called Slammed. But overall I actually really enjoyed this one. This is one that isn't talked about much, but I definitely think should be a bit more. This one and Never Never I definitely thought were really good compared to some of her other ones that are getting viral at the moment, like Hopeless, which I hated, and Maybe Someday, which I also hated. But overall I did like this one. So yeah, that is another great read for this month. So overall we've had a wonderful reading month, I can't lie. We have read 10 books, which is probably the best reading month I've had so far. There are a couple on my TBR that I didn't get around to reading, but overall I do think I did very well, and I'm very excited for next month because I don't know what the opposite of a reading slump is, but I'm basically in that. Like all I want to do at the moment is read, and I'm really enjoying it. So let me know any book recommendations, any videos that you guys want to see specifically, now that I'm kind of like on my roll with my reading. But yeah, if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a like down below, hit subscribe and turn on the bell to join our little club. Make sure you turn on all notifications and then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. If you want to watch my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as a load linked up in the cards from earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!